Okay, so today I want to talk a little bit about floor plans and the interactive floor plans and how those are set up. In addition, if we have some time at the end, I'd like to go over some of the order system itself as well, what you guys can do, different things like that. So we might as well just get started while some folks are trickling in. And we'll get moving. So we have the floor plans, and if you're unfamiliar with what I mean by floor plan, I'll grab one from our gallery here, just so you guys can get a good idea of what a floor plan would look like on a production. I think this one has one, yeah. Carl, how's it going? I did get your email, but I wasn't 100% sure, so I passed it up to Jason, and he hasn't gotten back to me yet. So once I know, you'll know. I didn't think there was IP addresses associated. I don't think it's technically pointing at an IP address because it's a web system, but it might just use the URL is what I'm saying. I don't know enough about it. That I'll have to confirm, but I'll make sure you know when I do. So this tour has a floor plan enabled. Floor plan is only visible once you're in an area of the house that has a floor plan associated with that photo. So for example, we saw when I was on this photo, we don't have any floor plan, or excuse me, on an earlier photo, we don't have anything because this doesn't link to anything outside. But once we go inside, we have the floor plan showing where we are in the home. These little dots are the what we call hotspots. These hotspots allow us to click around the floor plan itself so we know right where we're going. We can hide the floor plan, we can look around. This is a pretty fancy place. Yeah, and the floor plan just lets us navigate it a little differently. You can also add multiple floor plans, so you could have one for the top floor, one for the upper floor, all sorts of stuff. And yeah, so you can click around and you can see for things like 360 photos, we have this radar, which shows you which direction in the photo you're looking, and you can customize which way that's pointing. We are working on that setting right now. It's just a little off from what you would expect. So right now you see how it says it's pointing at the patio, but it's a little off cantered, but also this house floor plan is a little strange. But I know I can spin it a couple times and we'll see again, it's not, so even though we're looking the same direction, it's not quite there. So it needs a little work right now, but we're getting there. Working on that today, actually. So that's what a floor plan would look like in a tour. The file itself, it likes PNGs, and the reason we like PNGs is because they have transparency. So instead of having this white background, this gray background, with a PNG, you would just be able to see right through, and you'd be able to see the photo behind it. But because we see we can't, we can close that and we get the photo back again full screen. So that's what a floor plan looks like in a tour. I want to go over what that would look like creating one. So I'm going to head back to my dashboard here, and I will go to I don't know if I have any PNG floor plans right now. That's the problem. All right. I'm just going to go into this one. Did I put a floor plan? No, I put a floor plan on this one. This was just a quick test project I did earlier with the floor plan. We can see, pulls up the floor plan I've uploaded. I've got a hotspot there. But just for showing you what it's all about, I'm gonna go to a project I have that doesn't have a floor plan, just to make sure everything's looking good. Okay, this one has a floor plan, but I'll remove it. All right, so now if we go back to the floor plans, we see it goes right to upload floor plans because we don't have anything yet. We've got our floor plan editor right here, but we can't do anything until we upload a floor plan. So I will grab one of my floor plans from my system. Testing media, floor plan. Yeah, none of these are PNGs, unfortunately. But if you take a look in your account, your test tour, the demo project that we create for you, sample, which one is it? Oh, that's right, my sample's a little messed up, but that was my own doing. So this floor plan we can see is a PNG. So we can actually see through the floor plan and we can see what's going on behind it once we look at the tour. And the demo tours that all of you have would also be able to just use these PNGs and see what it would look like in the demo. Every account has a demo unless you've changed it somehow, but here we can see that's a transparent floor plan. So we can see through it. We don't have to worry about it covering up half the screen. Floor plan can be used in conjunction with hotspots. So we can see we've got some hotspots, we've got an info spot. That might even be a link spot. Yeah, so that one just took us to the Astro Zoom. Yeah, so the floor plan is, you can click on the hotspots, you can click on the hotspots in the photo itself, all sorts of stuff. So that's what a transparent floor plan would look like for this system. But I'm gonna head back to that tour I was in before and we'll go through the process of getting one in. Seeing some more folks coming in. All right, oh, it just started snowing. Joy. All right, so let's get a floor plan uploaded. I'll grab a different one than the one I was using before. It's actually the same floor plan, but this one is rendered in 3D. So you can just drag and drop. You can browse like you normally would. Select the file, you can clear the list. You can upload more than one at once. That would be how you would differentiate different floors in a floor plan. So I'll just upload one for now. So here we are with the floor plan uploaded. We can see this one's a little more rendered out. Okay. So now, once we've got the floor plan in our floor plan editor, we can add a hotspot to it. And so just to make it a little more interesting, I'll add a 360 hotspot. And the way you do that is you can just click on the little green plus to the right of the photo. That's the add hotspot button. And we can see after it loads, we have a little icon that we can drag around the floor plan. So I say, ooh, that was the front of the house. So I'll just put that right outside the front door right there. The hotspot doesn't have to be on the navigatable area of the floor plan. It just has to fit within the file that you've created. You can change the icon for that floor plan. We'll go into it here, change it to a target. So there we have a little target icon. All right, so once we've added a floor plan, you can click on it and drag it around like I said. If you want to edit more things about the hotspot, click on it in the floor plan itself, and then you can hit the green arrow to calibrate the radar and preview the scene. That pulls the photo that you added as a hotspot, that pulls it into the background. So you can see it's showing us where we're looking, it's showing us what happens when we move around, all that fun stuff. And then that radar, if you don't like the radar or if it's not something you're interested in using, you can just hit the show hide radar button right here. That allows you to, not only are you not seeing it here, but it wouldn't show up in the tour as well. Any questions so far? So from here, we can look at other options. So we've got all sorts of different things we can do. I'm going to open up this tour just to have it in another tab. So we can see, I'm going to face the shot, and then there are controls right here that are covered up by this specific file, it looks like. I'm going to point it right at the front door, but we can see my radar isn't looking at the front door. So what we can do is we can hit Calibrate Radar. And what Calibrate Radar allows us to do is we can move the photo for sure. But what we can also do is we can move the radar itself, and the photo doesn't move. So if I'm looking at the house, I would point my radar right at the house with Calibrate Radar, make sure I save. And now we can see that it's calibrated correctly. So if I look at the house, we can see the radar is pointing at the house. If I turn fully away, we can see it's turned fully away. I know I mentioned radar. I will say right now there is a little issue with it we are working on. It's not pointing the correct direction in the tour, but it is working correctly in the manager. So for the meantime, if you are interested in doing floor plans, you can just hit Show Hide Radar, turn that off. But once it's back enabled, it's a really great idea, or a really great way to get an idea of what you're looking at. So that's a floor plan in the system. We've got 3 different icons you can use. We had that camera I showed you before. This is the target, and then there's also a dot, which is just the center dot of this. It's a little black dot, just like so. Pretty easy. And then if you wanted, you can add more floor plans. We can just hit the little plus here. Drops it right into the shot, and the dot's a little small, but it's right there. We can see I can drag it around. I'll put this one in the bedroom. We will make sure, yep, it's not a bedroom photo, but it works for me. And then if we go back to the tour and refresh, we can see we've got our hotspot right here. And the floor plan is navigatable as expected. Some other options we have, we've got the style. So there's layover, pull out, split screen. So this is the layover, so we can see it's layover because it's on top of the screen. It's on top of the photo we're looking at, like so. So we can see there's, there's our outside hotspot, there's our inside hotspot, all sorts of fun stuff. So layover puts it on top of the photo, but we can hide that. If we were to switch it to pull out, for example, we'll hit save. I'll refresh the tour. How's everyone doing, by the way? Shoot me any questions you have at any time. I get a little notification when I get them. So this is pull out. So we can see that it's fully covering that side of the page. It goes away, pulls out the menu. And then there is also split screen, which was that demo tour I was showing. That was a split screen. So hit refresh. And it divides the space of the photo between the two. Now this is a 360, so it doesn't do that. But if I were to have a still photo like this one, it splits the display. Let me look at pull out one last time, just make sure that looks good. Oh, pulls right out. Pretty easy. Pretty easy. So that is the simple things. You can also determine the direction it comes from. So say I want it on the right side of the photo, I could do that. There it is, on the right rather than the left. I'm going to change it back to left though. And then floor plan icon size. So that's the size of the icons that you're seeing on the map itself. It's the dots that we're talking about. So these dots are determining, the size of them is determined by this setting here. We'll make them large. refresh. So that's a big icon. Big old icon. And of course you can change those however way you want. I personally think normal is fine. Some people like them smaller, some people like them bigger. It's all personal preference. You can of course rename the floor plan. You can see that's a good thing to do. As we change its style. Whoops. Change it back to layover. Oh, right, because it's just a single floor plan. If you have multiple floor plans, you get a little drop down that allows you to switch between the two. So I guess I'll just upload a second one real quick. Yeah, that'll work. Boom, boom. So we've got this floor plan as the one we're working on right now. This is the one we just added. I will click the green button to bring this into a working space. I will hit a button over here to add a hotspot onto this space. And once the hotspot is there, I can preview the way it's looking. That's really most used for panoramas, 360s, things like that. You can mess with it with stills, but for stills, you might as well just drop it right where you want it to be. So now we've got first floor, second floor, flort. Here we go. Back in the tour. Boom. And then it switches to that floor's floor plan. Check one thing. It might be a split screen thing I'm thinking of. Oh, it's under the carousel. You can switch between the floor plans with this right here. I'm just silly and forgot it's under the carousel. Right there. You also can set the default status for when you open a tour. So if I were to refresh this, it'd be like I'm opening it for the first time. We can see the floor plan is open automatically. If we wanted to, we could make it closed and you would have to tell it to open rather than just being available from the get-go. So here we can see it starts closed. And our final option is the background color. We could see that this one uses a gray, and the pullout and layout or split screen do as well. We'll change that to a black background. Little black background. So those are our floor plan options. That's how you would go about getting them set up. That's how you would go about adding scenes to a floor plan. Now that I've wrapped up, I can see I've got a couple questions. Let me take a look. PNG will be transparent. JPEG will show the white background. So the background is white on this photo just because it's a white background in the shot. I mean, if you look at my folders, you can see that they're they're all white backgrounds regardless. If you were to find something that's a PNG, would have its own. So, and you can make, and PNGs don't necessarily have transparent backgrounds. It's just most commonly associated with having a transparent background. So here is I cut this out myself the other day for just marketing. And so this is a headshot with a transparent background on it. We can see it doesn't have any background. It's just drop shaded. So this is a background-free PNG. So generally, when a photo does have a transparent background, it's a PNG. Not every time. I've seen it go lots of ways. But so that's the difference between PNG and a JPEG. I'd recommend PNG just because I think it's a smoother look, but it is a little more of a hassle to get set up. Photoshop Pro, which is not me, could probably do that in 25 seconds. It took me 20, 30 minutes. So, but not a Photoshop Pro. But this is silly. I could upload my face as a floor plan. And I'll show you what that would look like. Oh, it's a big file though. So I'm going to get rid of the other ones we did. Excuse me. It's going to delete the floor plan. It's going to delete those associated hotspots. So if I wanted, I could add a hotspot to my face. And so we can see this doesn't have the white background. It's just me cut out on the background of the website, normal colors. All right, so I'll save that, head back, refresh. And so we can see it doesn't have a background. It just defaults to the background that the photo do. But let me make it lay over the large dot. So that, because it does not have that background, we can see I'm cut out evenly and it just lays over top. So to answer your question, Thielen, it's just a kind of, because those are just file types, and this is what's associated with those file types. It's not necessarily all PNGs have translucent backgrounds, and all JPEGs don't have translucent backgrounds. It's luck of the draw. I bet if you were to just Google PNG of the Earth or something like that, I'd be willing to bet it's not actually a PNG. This one might be though. So a good telltale sign for PNGs, at least if you're looking for something specific, a good telltale sign for PNGs is this checkerboard background. So yeah, I bet you this one's not, that one's not, but that one might be. It might also not be because it's watermarked. So they could just be doing fake stuff like that. I hope that answers your question about PNGs. It just takes a little more effort. I'm almost positive that when we get floor plans done by Cubicasa, I'm pretty sure they almost always come in as PNGs. We don't currently do brush and build. We have gotten some more requests for it, so I would say we're probably not opposed to it. But as of right now, it's not something we're doing. So if you want to learn more about that, you'd have to talk to Jason directly. Yeah, Cubicasa is a great way to do the floor plan. We really like that. We have a lot of folks who just wing it. They'll just whip something up in SketchUp or something like that, and then you can do that if you have a guesstimate of what the house is laid out as. You can whip those up in a half hour, if that. Cubicasa does give accurate results and a lot of data that you wouldn't necessarily need for a use case like this. Like, just because you're uploading a floor plan doesn't mean you have to put dimensions on it. I know that someone purchasing a home might be interested in, but you're paying a lot for something that you might not necessarily use every feature of, is all I'm trying to say. Downside of Cubicasa is also the turnaround time. It's that 1 day turnaround can be a lot for some folks. Fully featured floor plans do take a while. It was like a $7 million estate I was looking at the other day, one of our clients did, and it had a fully featured floor plan, and this was like it was like a 6-bed, 7.5 bath house, so it was no small feat getting all of those up there. If you're doing a big property like that with multiple floors, multiple floor plans, and doing all of the hotspots and getting everything set up just right, you could really sink some time into it, but you can really make a really cool product. It delivers well. People get them, love them. I want to say I sent it to myself. Let me see if I did. No, I don't think I did. Okay. It kind of wraps up the floor plans. Like I said, that radar we're working on should be next week, no later than that, and it'll be back to fully functional. All right. Just because we caught up on that one, I wanted to walk through, and we had talked a lot about storefront in the past couple webinars. So what I wanted to do was talk about the other side of storefront, which is your end, the order side, order management, order, just the ordering system in general. So under orders and view all orders. This is where we find our orders. Of course, I am not a full photographer, so I don't have many other than tests that I do, things that I make for videos. So a lot of my orders aren't fully featured, but we have a lot of big time photographers who are. I'll pull one up on another monitor here. I'll pull up Joyce again. Wow. I'm just going to stick with the fake orders that I'm doing. I don't want to show any of her information to anyone who's not privy to it. But anyway, we can go through the order process. So, of course, customers can go to your storefront. They can create a purchase on your storefront and go from there, which creates an order in your system. But if they didn't go through storefront, or if there's someone who isn't interested in storefront, can't figure it out, you got an order differently than you normally would, you might still end up having to put an order in yourself if that's something you decide to do. So under orders, there's the drop down. You can create a new order from here. You can also do it from right here. And it's going to walk us through the whole process. So first thing it's going to ask us is what type of payment collection do you want? Prepay would only apply to storefront purchases. So rarely are you ever going to manually create a prepaid invoice or prepaid order. Normally you're going to do invoice or pay to download, and then you can go through the process from there. If you're unfamiliar with those, make sure to check out our pay to download delivery site video. We've got some really cool stuff going on with that. The invoice would be, you do all the work, upload the shot, deliver it, send them a bill, and then they pay the bill when it's convenient for them. They can even pay the bill directly through the website, through their delivery site if they have their payment gateway. If you have your payment gateway set up, they can pay their bill through their delivery site. If they're paid to download, it's kind of the same way. So you do the shot, you do the shoot, you do the editing, you make the tour, you put all the bells and whistles and jazz and whatnots into it, and then you send the delivery link to their customer. But they cannot download their photos. They cannot download any videos you made. They wouldn't be able to access. Excuse me. They wouldn't be able to access the property website. They wouldn't be able to access the tour itself. E-brochure, flyer, anything is locked off until they pay. Anything they click on, it says you don't have access to this till you pay. So what I can do is I'll show you what the difference is. So I will pull up one of my orders here. This one's marked complete. I don't think, yeah, so I'll mark this one pay to download. So now we're pay to download, we can see. And then in the project, I can grab my deliverable links, delivery site. Oh, it's because my brand is turned on. My brand is a fake for learning purposes. So let me head back to that. So here's that delivery site. If you're used to the delivery site, it's going to look pretty familiar with a couple changes. So first things first, we got a big old lock at the top showing we're not getting anything until paid. I can view the invoice so I know what I'm paying for. Basic package, larger home basic package. Those were just me fiddling around, making test orders. I could print that invoice. It gives me a print preview. It's got my logo. You as the photographer's logo would appear there on anything your client prints. Additionally, you can get a PDF of it. So I can open that. There's my order PDF. Nice and good. It's got my info. It's got the property info. Your client would be on here, your logo, all that great stuff. Wow, it's really coming down. All right. And so now that I see that it's locked, so are my links. I can't even get that link. unless I click on the lock and pay. I can't copy it unless I pay. I can't open it. So it's kind of like invoicing with an extra step in that the whole job is complete. They just don't get anything until they pay. So we know lots of our clients have customers who aren't necessarily the best at paying invoices on time. We know you might even be hunting down money. We don't want you to have to do that, which is why we have that here. And we can see it locks everything, embeds, marketing, photos. You'll notice for photos, I can view the photo with my company logo on it acting as a watermark. So they can download that shot, but they're not going to do anything with it because of your watermark. And if you have a more intense watermark than my little just picture of a beach I found, then they're out of luck until they pay. So that's just a nice way to guarantee the money a little sooner. And then it also locks the traffic report as well. So that's a pay to download invoice. I'm going to head back to the order. I'm going to set it to invoice. Go back to the project, back to the delivery site. So here I can get everything. I can copy it. I can open it in a new tab. I can download the photos. I can look at the traffic report. But I can also pay the invoice. So for people who you trust a little more, people who you know they're good for the money, you know they're gonna pay, you can set those folks to pay it to invoice, as that's gonna be a little more convenient for that type of person. But for the folks who aren't very good at paying, you probably want to keep it a little inconvenient. Okay, those are the differences. Prepay only happens when they pay for it via storefront. So you can't make an order that's set to prepay yourself. Or you can, but it's not going to end up being delivered as prepay. It would end up being, if you want to pay it through the system, it would be paid via invoice or pay to download. Excuse me. Long week, real long week. So those are the differences between them. We will head back into the order. Actually, no, let's make a new order. Not new project, new order. All right, I'm going to set this to pay to download. I'm going to put in an address. It's going to autofill just like everywhere else in our system. So we've got all the greats. We'll do the classic Pennsylvania Avenue. Fills in everything. Just like a project, it's going to ask you if it's real estate or for sale, if it's a business, and how you want to deliver it, virtual tour or media delivery only. We even have people using this delivery site for non-real estate purposes. So folks will come in, they'll make an order, they'll make it media delivery only. They'll do the entire process of the job, but it turns out this time the job is senior portraits, right? So you could upload those photos and deliver them via the media delivery only, via the delivery site. They can download right from the delivery site. It doesn't have to be property. And part of our goal is even to have this just be its own standalone system. So you can have multiple storefronts. You might have a storefront for real estate. You might have a storefront for weddings or senior portraits, family photography, whatever it might end up being. You might have another storefront, and it's going to use the same payment processor. People can use their same account that they use for your real estate purchases, or you can add new accounts, just like you would with a new client. How are we doing so far? Any questions? I'll keep moving and I'll listen for those questions coming in. Up next is location contact. So location contact is going to be, generally we'll see that for a business, where, for example, like a tour track, we would see a hotel corporate order a tour, but they might give us the general manager's contact information because they would be the person who's listed as the owner, not the manager, for example. So here I'd put in their information, and this is all optional. You don't have to fill any of this out. It can be updated later. The only things that you need for sure up front are the address and type of payment. So you can add the location contact. You can add any instructions or notes. So if you, we see this used a lot more frequently for photographers who might have their employees who are photographers as well. So the company accepts the order via RTV, and then they dispatch their photographer to the job. That's also how our tour track does it, is they'll put notes in the notes section. You know, hotel requests this many shots of each type of room, outdoor, X minutes of drone footage. And so that's how your photographer is going to know that's how that happens. And you can just put anything in there. We'll also see this for door codes. Where's the hidden key? You know, the little realtor lockbox things. I'm sure those have a name that's better than that, but that's what I'm calling them. So you can put anything there. So if this order is dispatched to one of your photographers with their own login, they would log into their account and they would be able to see this order in their account, and they could accept or refuse the job. Next, we can select agent owner. So for a property that's going to be just a residential, it's not a business, commercial, whatever. That would be where you would assign the real estate agent. Those are going to be, again, it's the user of the property with the name attached to it. A business, you would put the business owner in there, for example. And photographer. So if you're assigning the job to one of your photographers, you would pick the photographer down here. I will say though, this is mandatory. This is optional. So I won't even pick a photographer. I won't put anything in any of this. I'll just leave address, that, and pick an agent. And it still lets us continue because we have everything that we need. All of that can be added later. All of it can be edited. There's a couple things that can't be edited once the tour has been posted live, but you'd want to make sure the invoice and everything's correct before anything goes live. So once it's marked complete, there are a couple of things you cannot roll back. But before then, you can pretty much do whatever you want. I probably won't be here. See you next week. All right, so after we've completed the initial steps of our order, we go to packages and add-ons. So just like we were creating for storefront, we have the exact same packages and add-ons here. End goal is we might want to have it so that we have packages that you can see here, but might not appear on the storefront. So it's going to be part of the multiple storefronts. Me as the photographer might have a package that I wouldn't want them to be able to see, but I want me to be able to select. So it's just like you would see on the storefront, just laid out a bit different. We've got our variants here. So this would be your basic versus your deluxe. This, you know, square footage adjusters. We've got add-ons. So we'll just do basic. We'll do extra panels. We'll do an astro zoom. And we'll hit next. Next thing it wants is an attachment. Attachment would be for a lot of those corporate jobs, that might be a guidelines file, some sort of PDF with information on the property, whatever it might end up being. For someone just photographing homes, you might never use this section, but we have it there in case you need it. You can browse, you can upload from there, you can remove, you can clear the whole list. So there's that as well. You can go next. And this is the, right before we submit order, this is the final confirmation page. First things first, it says address look good. We say, yep, that looks good. This is our breakdown of what we've added to the cart. So like I said before, we did extra panos, we did Astro Zoom, we did a basic package. Totals everything. We've got attachments, if there are any, it would appear right here. Agent owner right here. Location contact right here. But like I said before, we chose not to do any location contact because we're just assuming that this is something I'm shooting myself. I'm looking at most of the names in chat right now, and I'm pretty sure most of you shoot yourself as opposed to an employed photographer. So just clarifying that there, I'd have to confirm further on a person by person basis. But once everything looks good here, we can submit. But if I say, oh, you know what, I want to add more packages and add-ons, I can go back a couple times. I can, I'll add the extras, and then we can see it updates again. It adds my final thing. Say everything looks good now. I'm going to submit. All right, order created. So order system, this is your orders. So this job is listed as needs photographer. So the idea here is that we would assign a photographer. Now, if the photographer is you, you can just make yourself a photographer, or you can just skip that. So what I could do is I could hit edit here, and I can change the status. So I'm going to change the status to scheduled here because we're not worried about a photographer. But I could assign, you could make one for yourself just to make it a little easier in the long run, because we could see that button still there. And that button is still going to be there until we do assign a photographer. So I'll assign Louis here. And we could swap it around if we want, but if we go down, we can see that he's the photographer. Cool, so now that the job needs scheduled, once it's scheduled, we can go from there. You could make these orders in advance. You could make them after you've already done everything, just to have it in an invoice. So we also have a schedule order button, which gives us a date. So yeah, I'll be able to shoot it Monday at 3 p.m., whatever. Scheduled. And that gets associated with the order now. Scheduled date right there. So I say, oh, scheduled for Pi Day. 3/14 Pi Day. Yesterday was Mario Day. MARIO. Cool. So this is a scheduled order. Once we create an order, every time an order is created, it's going to create an associated project as well. So we can go to that project, and we can see it's made everything for us. All we have to do is just get the photos in there. So I will just find some of my quick test shots here. Not that many. I'll upload some shots. I think these are big pictures. Oh, that's not as big as I thought it would be. Yeah, these two are 15 megabytes. Anyway, once the projects are in there, we can go back to the project page, and we can click view order to go back to the order. And you can do this whenever you're in the project. View order brings you back to the order. View project brings you back to the project, so you can change anything there. Order is separate from project in that you're not going to change any property details here. You're not going to adjust the tour in any way. This is just the sort of process log aspect of the system rather than a full the tour builder. So two separate things, but doing a very, very related job. Projects, of course, have 6-digit project numbers. Orders have 5. And you can search everything from up here. So 11174. You can see, oh, yep. So there's the associated project. There's the associated order. And there's no users with that. So we can see that. We know that for sure in the search bar. Oh, shoot, I'm running out of time. Confirm how much time I've got. All right. I've got 3 minutes left. And the only reason I have such hard cutoffs is there's a limit on how long it can record for. So here we are in the order. Order's good to go. Everything looks good down here. We did make this pay to download. And so we say, oh, everything's great. We're going to mark it complete. So photography is marked complete. Great. So the project is then listed as a work in progress. So because it's a work in progress, everything we do on this side. And so once we're done with everything over here, we can mark it complete. This is where your project credit's going to be consumed. And the project is live. Order is complete. And if you go to the order, we can see that we marked the project complete. The order is marked complete as well. Now that the order is marked complete, though, we can't edit anything other than schedule and payment collection. I can't edit schedule date. I can't edit order status. I can't edit any other details of the progress. Whereas if it was still a work in progress, do I have any work in progress orders? No, I jumped the gun a little bit on that one. Work in progress orders, you can change. So, actually it's work in progress, but I have to change it back to needs payment or payment pending, whatever it ends up being. And that's the order system. And then once the order is created, you can see through the project under links and deliverables. Under links and deliverables. So the order, I can't remember what it was. Just over 300 bucks. Yeah, 309.98. There we are, 309.98. Pay to download invoice. Watermarked. Hidden out, grayed out. All that fun stuff. And that's it. That's what I've got for you today. I appreciate everybody coming and hanging out. I do have these videos in a shorter format in the help section under orders, order management, packages and add-ons, and convert project to an order. So every project you create doesn't necessarily have an order. Every order you create has a project. So once you have a project, you can take that project and make it an order. And I made a little video in here for you on just how to do that. So lots of great options. I do appreciate you, everybody, coming and hanging out. And I hope you have a great weekend. Thanks, Dalen. You too.